Bend Voter News. My name is Cameron Hill. I'm with and part of the Fort Bend Election News editorial board. And on today, we have our state rep with us. State rep, please let us know why you're running and introduce yourself.
I'm Ron Reynolds, State Representative for House District 27. I'm running for re-election. I've been blessed to have served for the past 12 years as State Representative of Fort Bend, the first African American elected since Reconstruction, a Black History fun fact. And I'm honored to be here today, and I want to thank you all for allowing me this platform to be able to reach the listeners so that they can hear why I'm running. I'm running for re-election so I can continue to be a voice that this community has had over the last decade, fighting for issues involving public education, making sure that we have strong public schools, fighting for more minority participation for contractors. We know that there are so many small business owners that are often left behind, that are competent, capable, and qualified, that never give opportunities for inclusion when it comes to equity for contracts. And I'm fighting for those contractors, for those small businesses. I'm fighting for women and women's access to reproductive choices that they can make, because so many of my Republican colleagues are trying to really take away a woman's right to choose. I'm fighting for women when it comes to equal pay for equal work, so that no man can make more money for the same job. We need a Texas solution for what Obama was able to pass in federal law. We also need to look at the impacts of climate change and what happened with Winter Storm Uri. We need to fix our electric grid so that never again will we as Texans face the concept of losing power when it comes to frigid temperatures in the winter or even extreme heat in the summer. So we need to have solutions for that. When it comes to criminal justice reform, we need to champion the George Floyd bill. We haven't done everything we need to do. The police officers still have qualified immunity. We still have so many disparities within our criminal justice system that need to be fixed and rectified. And so there are a host of issues. I could go on and on. Healthcare is one of the biggest things that I've been a champion of. Texas leads the nation in the highest number of uninsured. We are dead last. Black women, unfortunately, are the highest in maternal deaths in Texas. Maternal mortality, the highest percentage of women that are dying from maternal deaths is right here in Texas. And that is because so many people in Texas don't have access to health care. I filed legislation for Medicaid expansion. So those are the reasons why I'm running for re-election, so I can continue to be a champion and fighting for those matters. I have been blessed to work with good people to get some things done, but there's still work to be done. I'm in my first year as the chair of the newly formed Texas House Progressive Caucus. I am the vice chair of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus, and I'm using these leadership roles to advance these issues, to have a platform to bring these issues front and center so that we can pass good legislation for working families in Texas. And finally, we need a livable wage in Texas. We need to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Texas is still $7.25. I don't know anybody that can make it and support themselves on $7.25, even if you work full time. So I'm fighting to raise the minimum wage to at least $15 an hour to give people a livable wage in this state, to go with the rising cost of inflation, to go with the rising cost of goods and services, the gas and a carton of milk. And so I'm fighting for the working families, not the big corporations. They have plenty of lobbyists, but we need people that can fight for everyday working families in this state, and that is why I'm running for re-election.
That's good. Jay?
Hi, my name is Jay Malhotra, and I'm the publisher of Indo-American News, a print weekly. We've been in business for 41 years, and then also I am the host of Indo-American News Radio on Saturday mornings. While I was listening to you, I couldn't help but think that Texas Democrats in the House have been marginalized fairly well by the Republicans. And a lot of the ideas and causes that they want to expand on have been thrown by the wayside simply because of the majority voting system. So in light of that, I would think that they feel very stymied. Isn't that a little discouraging to you to move forward this way? There has to be a different path, but maybe a different way to get some of your agenda passed.
You're right. I mean, we are the minority party, and oftentimes it is very daunting. But when my faith, I think about David versus Goliath, and that you can slay a giant with faith and a strong work ethic. And so I bring that to the table. I look at the situation as a challenge, and you have to work strategically. You have to work smarter and harder because the odds are against you. And so what I try to do is to galvanize and appeal to people's sense of conscience because I know the numbers are against us. And I try to motivate my colleagues. A similar example is when we did the quorum break. We knew that we couldn't beat them in terms of stopping the voter suppression bill. So we had to work strategically. And what we were able to do was to delay and to kill the legislation. Although temporarily, it gave us some moral victories. And we led and went to DC and we fought at the federal level for voting rights. Even though we didn't win the battle, I know we're going to win the war because we opened up the nation's mind to what voter suppression is in 2020, in 2022 and beyond. We were able to talk about it. And so a lot of times, even though we may not win in the short term, we have to play chess and strategically plan for years ahead. So what are we doing now? We're trying to get people engaged so that they can understand why elections matter, why we need to elect people at the local level, not just every 4 years in the presidential, but why midterm elections matter, why local elections matter. And so while it is daunting, it is sometimes you really want to throw in the towel. I think about the people whose shoulders I stand on, the people who paved the way for me, who marched, who protested, who were lynched, who died for the precious right to vote. And I think about the people who didn't have any kind of realistic chance of passing legislation, but they gave everything so that I could. And that is why I don't worry about the odds. I know that I press forward with faith and with hard work and determination, and I hope that I inspire my colleagues to do the same.
Could I do a follow-up? Very quick follow-up to that. A lot of the Republican agenda, especially that's being expanded by Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, is focused on social reform. And one of the biggest social reform steps that they took in this legislature, in this past legislature, was passing the critical race theory ban, which is, if you look at it closely enough, it's nothing but racism in disguise. There are some cases where school teachers in Dallas are not able to teach about genocide or lynchings or anything else because some parent has objected to that and they want that book thrown out. Now, why is it that the Democrats, and you're certainly one, cannot expand on the obvious flaws in this and bring it to the voters?
Well, that's a great question. And I was there on the House floor when we debated that bill. And it broke my heart because what my Republican colleagues are attempting to do in this post-Trump era is to whitewash our history, to change the narrative and the paradigm from the atrocities of the past, the Holocaust, slavery, such, they don't even want to talk about LGBTQ issues. And what they're trying to do is to take the books and the teaching methodologies of teachers and etch a sketch it, act like it didn't happen, because they say that they don't want these children to be indoctrinated or to have white guilt or white shame. And so effectively what they're doing is really trying to alter history. We know that we have a long history in this country of racism and segregation and slavery and other things, but the only way that we don't repeat our history is we learn from it, and they are trying to take that away. And so to answer your question, the only thing that we can do is to appeal to you all, the media, to try to educate the public, because we can't win on the House floor. They vote party line. They did that in this, even though the teachers and the educators said this is bad, this is not the course we want to go in this state. We heard from education experts, subject matter experts. They threw it all out because they had a partisan objective, was to pass this legislation as part of the Trump agenda. That is unfortunate. And so what we have to do is to continue to appeal to the media, to educate the masses so that they vote and they vote their values. So that's the only thing we could do. We had to use the bully pulpit of what we had to educate people on why this is bad. And hopefully the people from Texas, the citizens, will reach out and say, you know what you did with this was wrong, and we're going to vote you out. That is the only thing we can do, is to appeal to the masses, because we don't have the numbers to stop it. We can use every procedural tactic that's in there, but at the end of the day, when the bill hits the floor, they vote party line, they have the numbers, they are able to pass it. Lieutenant Governor, you're right, he's driving this with social issues. He's the leader. He's pushing us farther and farther to the right. No longer are they trying to do what's moderate or what will appeal to independents. They are appealing to the far, far, far right of the Republican base that believes in conspiracy theories, that are anti-vaxxers, that don't believe in science. These are the same people that were saying we shouldn't wear masks. These are the same people that pushed to get us permitless carry. These are the same people that were fighting for the voter suppression bill. So they're going farther and farther to the right and not taking care of the issues that most Texans care about, like keeping the lights on, putting food on the table, access to health care. Those aren't the issues they're caring about. It's the social issues, abortion, guns, and critical race theory. Those were the issues that they were driving, because those are the issues that are leading the far right of the Republican Party. And so we have to continue to appeal to the public and ask citizens to be engaged and to vote.
I think that a lot of citizens probably don't understand what the term critical race theory means. The Republicans have done an excellent job of camouflaging that as some sort of statistical gobbledygook. Nobody understands how it will be implemented. But I think you in a position that you are could probably project why it is nothing but racism in disguise.
Absolutely. Here's the thing. Here's what
Sound bites. They're good at 30-second sound bites, elevator pitches that they run on Fox News, and they appeal to what I call dog whistle politics. They put things out there to appeal to their base. This is, they call it, we don't want to, they're promoting racism, and they're promoting far right, far left wing ideology, and they're using this, and they're appealing to their base. That's really what they're doing very well. They're actually promoting racism, but they're flipping the script and they're putting us on defense. But they're the ones that is perpetuating this stuff. They don't want to teach actual history. Yes, we are a nation where black people came to this country enslaved. That is a part of this country. That is one of the original sins of America. But they don't want to acknowledge that. They want to say that we're playing the race card when we talk about slavery, when we talk about, issues of the past, when we talk about segregation and Jim Crow. Well, you stop playing the race card. We had a African-American president. We don't live in a racist country. Obama got elected. That is their way of really deflecting from the history. And the fact that we never got reparations. We never got 40 acres and a mule. We still are dealing with systemic issues that perpetuate the fact that we didn't have education, that we had segregation until the 50s, and we didn't have equality until the passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. We're still playing catch up. And so we have a long way to go to achieve parity. And the Republicans are saying, hey, why are they still talking about racism and discrimination? We're past all that. So you're right. They're disguising these issues to appeal to their base.
Well, I'm sorry to belabor this point, but it seems to me that this is Jim Crow version 2.
Yes. We call it Jim Crow 2.0.
Right. So, and the thought, some rancher living in the rural part of Texas, whether he understands it or not, mounts these words critical race theory, but they don't understand it themselves. What they do understand is what the impact is going to be. And that's why I don't understand why Democrats don't go out and make sure that these people who should be their voters could be converted. Because some of them have friends who are black,
That's right.
very
very
close
close
friends.
friends.
They
They
don't
don't
harbor
harbor
any hard feelings.
I agree with you. I'll say this succinctly. Democrats need to do a better job of keeping it simple, keep it short and simple, and coming up with sound bites so that people understand what is really going on. We go on and on and on. We need to make it 30 seconds, short and simple. That is the way the Republicans have done it, and they've been very effective with shaping the paradigm and the messaging. We got to do a much better job of messaging and playing offense and not always on our heels on defense.
It sounds great. So what would you like to do? Just listen to the camera and let everybody know why they vote for you.
Well, I'm Ron Reynolds. I'm running for re-election. I have a proven track record of fighting and advocating. I've always been in the trenches, never sold out to special interest groups. I always put the people over politics. And I'm going to continue to fight for you. I'm asking for your vote to re-elect me to my 7th term so that I can go back to Austin, Texas, and speak truth to power. I'm one of the few representatives that doesn't mind going to the governor and the lieutenant governor and calling them out when they're advocating for issues that don't advance our state. I'm going to continue to put the issues of education, healthcare, criminal justice reform, and jobs front and center, and I'm asking for your vote on March the 1st. Early voting starts on February the 14th. March 1st is the Democratic primary. I do have a primary opponent, and I would be blessed if you will send me back to Austin so that I can continue to be your state representative. When it comes to issues involving our community, issues of access, I'm always there. Food drives, COVID testing, making sure that people have access to groceries, that people have access to food insecurity, making sure that I promote our local businesses for economic development, making sure that I mentor children at our local schools. I have done everything that I could to make sure that I advocate at the state level to do everything I can to earn your support, and I'm asking for your vote, and I'm asking for your support to send me back to Austin. Thank you so much for allowing me this platform. I never take it for granted. I work each and every day to continue to earn your support and your trust. Thank you so much, and God bless you.